Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to demystify the discipline of product design and lay out a really actionable blueprint for integrating it into agile organizations. Honestly, if you've ever found yourself wondering how the most successful tech companies out there manage to seamlessly blend user needs with business goals, well, you're in exactly the right place. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with the digital design evolution, then look at the product designer profile, talk about the head of product design role, explore some organizational models, and finally, wrap up with synergy and agile processes.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Digital Design Evolution.
So first things first, we really need to clear up some industry jargon. If you've ever felt totally lost in the alphabet soup of design titles, CX, UX, UI, service design, product design, trust me, you are absolutely not alone. The terminology has literally exploded in recent years, and the problem is, without a really crystal clear definition, organizations end up misaligning their hiring with their actual expectations.
There's this brilliant framework by Albina Chola that visually resolves all this confusion. Think of it kind of like a set of nesting dolls. The largest, outermost layer is customer experience, or CX, which covers absolutely every single touchpoint a customer has with a brand. Then, within that, overlapping with service design, you'll find product design. And neatly tucked right inside product design is user experience, UX, which in turn houses user interface, or UI. It just perfectly illustrates that product design isn't just about making screens look pretty. It's this massive, encompassing discipline that bridges the gap between digital interfaces and the whole broader service ecosystem.
To put this into perspective, let's use Uber as an analogy. The customer experience is the overall brand feeling, right? It's the ads you see on the subway or the promotional emails you get. Service design tackles the physical and digital processes, like the overarching way drivers are actually trained. UX focuses super specifically on the app's usability, like how intuitively can you track your ride. So where does product design fit into all that? Well, product design takes that UX usability and marries it directly to the company's business strategy, all executed within a fast-paced, agile culture. A true product designer doesn't just want an app that's easy to use. They want an app that's easy to use, drives revenue, and hits the company's long-term goals.
Moving right along to Section 2, the product designer profile.
Okay, so who is the actual person pulling all of this off? The Thiga framework gives us a great look at this, showing that a true full-stack product designer needs an incredibly diverse radar of skills. It's definitely not just about UI design anymore. A full-stack product designer has to be proficient in user research to really get the customer, facilitation to run workshops and keep teams aligned, and conception to actually brainstorm solutions. They might even dip their toes into a bit of UX writing, product analytics, maybe even some basic front-end development. They're essentially a Swiss Army knife for the product team.
But here is the real crucial takeaway. Sure, hard skills like wireframing, running user tests, and visual design are absolute must-haves, but they're really only half the battle. It is the soft skills, empathy, collaboration, communication, and agility, that take a standard designer and elevate them into a true strategic partner. Empathy helps them understand not just the end user, but their own teammates. Collaboration and communication ensure their designs actually survive the messy, agile development process. And agility, that just means they can roll with the punches and pivot when business needs inevitably change. A stellar product designer is literally just as good at pitching a wild idea to stakeholders as they are at designing the actual interface.
All right, let's zoom out a bit for Section 3, the head of product design.
So how in the world do you manage a growing team of these super versatile designers? Well, we can creatively adapt the famous ARRR funnel from growth marketing and apply it to team management. Basically, you treat the team's life cycle with the exact same rigor as a digital product. It goes like this. Acquisition is hiring the right cultural fits. Activation is making sure their onboarding is buttery smooth. Retention means laying out compelling career paths so your best people don't jump ship. Revenue, in this case, means ensuring the design team is actually moving the needle on business metrics and managing their budget effectively. And finally, referral is about boosting your employer brand so top-tier talent actively wants to come work for you. It's just a remarkably smart, product-minded way to view leadership.
This brings us to Section 4, Organizational Models.
As companies scale up, they usually run into a major trade-off regarding how they structure their design teams. First, you've got the centralized model, which is like having an internal design studio. This gives you fantastic brand consistency, but the downside is it completely isolates the designers from the product managers and the developers. Then, on the flip side, you have the decentralized model. This is where designers are embedded directly into individual squads, those small cross-functional teams. This model gives you incredible speed and fast delivery, but it introduces a massive risk. You get a fragmented user experience because the designers in different squads just aren't talking to each other enough.
Picture this in a fully decentralized setup. Designers are sitting right there next to the lead developers and product managers in their specific squad. You can easily see how that drastically reduces time to market, right? When the designer is sitting right beside the person actually coding the feature, the feedback loop is practically instant. But if Squad A designs a checkout button entirely differently than Squad B does, your user is going to feel that friction for sure.
So what's the fix? Well, the most effective solution is a highly practical middle ground, centralizing designers at the tribe level. A tribe is essentially a larger group that oversees several related squads. In this setup, a product designer is dedicated to a set of squads working on similar user journeys. This lets them oversee multiple groups to keep the design super consistent, while still staying deeply embedded in the day-to-day agile workflow. You get the incredible speed of decentralization, paired with the quality control of a centralized studio. It's literally the best of both worlds.
Finally, let's bring it all together in Section 5, Synergy in Agile Processes.
Okay, so what does this actually look like on a random Tuesday? When we talk about the overlap between product managers and product designers, we absolutely shouldn't frame it as a turf war over who gets to talk to the user. Instead, think of it as a highly valuable zone of opportunities. Generally, a product manager views things through a business-first lens, while a product designer uses a user-first lens. That sweet spot where those two perspectives overlap during things like user research, backlog refinement, and problem framing, that is exactly where the absolute best, most valuable product decisions are made.
But let's get super practical for a second. How much time should a designer actually spend in meetings versus, designing? If we map out the agile rituals, there are a few the product designer absolutely must attend to keep things moving. Daily stand-ups, backlog refinement, sprint reviews, and retrospectives, those are mandatory, no skipping. They need to be there to unblock developers, show off wireframes, and grab team feedback. But notice that sprint planning is marked as optional. Assuming the designer has already prepped their assets, they can skip it to protect their focus time unless, of course, active discovery work is happening in that session.
At the end of the day, the evolution of product design is really a story about proactive leadership. I think it's perfectly captured by this brilliant call to action from Juan Pablo Costanzo. As designers, we must grab a chair and make room for ourselves at the table. For way too long, design was viewed as this end-of-the-line service just to make things look pretty right before launch. Not anymore. Today, in modern agile organizations, design is a fundamental strategic pillar that demands a holistic vision and a very loud, proactive voice in business decisions right from day one.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to chew on. Take a hard look at your own organizational structure. Are you truly empowering design to drive business value? Are your designers siloed away in a corner, or are they integrated at the tribe level, sharing that vital zone of opportunity with product managers? Answering that honestly might just be the key to unlocking your product's true potential. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep building great things.